why Prime Minister Modi is going out so many countries and different places. And, well, he's our best marketing person.
Right.
He's going out and selling the India story. He's going out and telling them, saying that, look, everything is okay here. This one question was always used to bother me. Saying if the product is good, why does it need marketing?
How would people
And the other thing is, the product is good, but only you know it.
Right.
So you are good, you are excellent, you are hardworking, you are smart, you are everything. But only you know it.
Right.
How is the other person going to know?
I want to know, how would somebody improve their communication skills?
I have a guaranteed proposition. Anybody who can write 100 days non-stop on this thing, we can call him for interview.
One very important function when we are looking at a PMS or an AMC, asset management company, or for that any kind of an investment company, would be the sales. One of the most important aspect, if I could say so.
Yeah.
So how does the sales aspect work? And also it employs the most number of people in any organization.
Yeah.
Because I also see a lot of times finance people getting a little scared of sales, or they kind of treat sales to be a kind of something really opposite to what they are built to do.
Yeah.
But that's not the reality. And a lot of people who have very good technical and financial acumen, they do tremendously well at sales. I mean, there is a certain amount of sales in every job. So how do you look at this part?
So I've done a lot of these, career sessions, for candidates and, for charter holders. And one thing which I usually ask them, how many of you are willing to get into a sales role?
Mm-hmm.
And out of a room of 500, you will barely see 2 or 3 people.
Right.
Now look at it this way. If somebody is already, let's say, a chartered accountant or already in finance, I will ask him to learn marketing.
Right.
I'll tell him, do an MBA in marketing.
Mm-hmm.
Don't do it in finance. Finance can be learned by doing CFA,
Yes.
FRM, CAIE,
Yes.
etc.
Yes.
But do it in marketing. Because marketing you can't learn, right? And
Right.
without marketing, you can't survive. So if you are a CIO,
Mm-hmm.
apart from performance and everything,
Mm-hmm.
you still have to sell your story, right?
Yes.
You still have to sell your philosophy. You still have to sell your idea.
There are
If
people
you are
who sold stories but not the returns.
But you have to sell it. I mean, you have to communicate.
Yes,
See, marketing,
yes.
you have to think of marketing as communication.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? You have to communicate. Now, whether you communicate it to regulator, whether you communicate to investors, whether it is institutional investor, whether you are a research analyst communicating it to your fund manager.
Correct.
Okay? You will have to communicate. Right?
Yes.
Now,
Yes.
most people will think saying that, boss, मैं किसी को कुछ product चिपका नहीं सकता हूँ. So the fundamental reason why people think I can't do sales, because they think I am very ethical and I can't,
Yes.
मैं किसी को चिपका नहीं सकता, मैं किसी को धोखा नहीं दे सकता. But boss, think of it the other way. If you as a charter holder are in sales function, you might be able to help the client by telling him, saying that, look, control on your behavioral aspects, or, look at, these features of products, or explain him suitability or risk factors better.
Right.
In fact, the most amount of, demand right now in a country like India is into wealth management.
Right.
Is into, financial planning.
Yes.
Is into investment advisory. Right. And where do you find most of these people? You find these people in, sales. You find these people who understand the product. Look, sales is a classic function. If you don't understand the product and sell it, you again are doing a disservice to client. But if you understand the product and you have rightly sold it, right? At Abacus, we have a philosophy saying that don't sell performance. Sell the product. Okay? Don't sell the product based on performance. Sell the product based on philosophy. Because if you sell the product based on performance, 6 months you are not performing, that money will go.
Yes. And the markets are going to be like this.
Markets are going. You are never going to be number one at all points in time.
Absolutely.
Right? I met a large insurance company and, we had a, small chat with the CIO, and he said, the goal for our fund managers is never to be in, top quartile. We want to be in second quartile.
Okay.
As long as you are in second quartile and you are consistent,
yes,
you will be in first quartile.
Yes.
Because those who are in first quartile have a habit of going to third and vice versa. But if you are consistent, you will be first quartile automatically.
Right.
You don't have to do anything. But don't aim for first quartile. Aim for a process. Right? Your timing may be wrong. Right? But focus on fundamental. Like they say, believe in basics. Go there. So same story. So you will have to sell something. Whether it is your skill set, whether it is your idea, whether it is your company, whether it's your stock, whether it's your philosophy. You will have to sell something. So when you tell your parents that I'm going to a coaching, you are selling them saying that, look, I'm such studious guy. When you're telling them I'm reading a book, you're telling them saying, look, like, I'm adding on knowledge, right? So every day you are basically selling something to the other, right? As we say, that PE of a company is earning multiplied by perception. Same is the case here. Your PE multiple can only expand if your perception towards people and perception towards things can change, right? Otherwise, it will not happen. So if you think sales is something which is not for you, then you should not work in finance. You should work somewhere else. Finance is not for you. Okay, and that might be true for every other function out there.
Absolutely.
Irrespective. So you might think why Prime Minister Modi is going out so many countries and different places. And, well, he's our best marketing person.
Right.
He's going out and selling the India story. He's going out and telling them, saying that, look, everything is okay here.
Right.
Right. And look at the amount of foreign relationships we have right now with respect to countries which respect us, or other things which respect us. The whole incident with Canada, which we had this happened 20 years ago, we would have gone.
Absolutely.
Everybody would have boycotted us.
True.
Okay, but you see, fast forward right now, you will not find a single country where India doesn't have a friendly relationship.
And in fact, everybody wants us to be in their good books right now.
Good books, right?
Because we've got the market. Right.
So the whole point is, again, but despite everything else, you still have to go to market yourself, right?
Right.
When I used to study, in my basic economics or otherwise, this one question was always used to bother me. Saying if the product is good, why does it need marketing?
How would people know?
And the other thing is, the product is good, but only you know it.
Right.
So you are good, you are excellent, you are hardworking, you are smart, you are everything, but only you know it.
Right.
How is the other person going to know it? Right. And typically, when I'm interviewing people, I look at the CV. Okay. How much time do you think in an interview I can spend on what you did in your CFA or your graduation, postgrad? I don't have that much talking points on that.
Right.
But if you've written a project, they're saying that you did a valuation of a telecom company or this company, that company, I'm interested in that.
Yes.
Right. Again, don't think that, I'm interested in the right answer. I'm not interested in the right answer. Nobody is interested in what value you arrived at.
The amount of homework you've done.
The amount of homework and the approach.
Okay.
We just want to know, how can you think? Or what is it that your thought process with which you are approaching things? If you're logical, half of the job is done. Because if you're logical, you can pick up anything. If you're not logical, right? And the same thing, you would have heard saying that we are very good at fundamental bottom-up analysis, but we are not very good at top-down analysis or macro view. Why? Because we are so fixated with our own sector or view, everything.
We don't look at the big picture.
90% of the people whom I ask, someone he's staying in maybe South India or North India or maybe Delhi or Kolkata or Chennai, will ask him, okay, here is a job and you want to move to Bombay. They'll say no.
Okay.
Same person is ready to move to Singapore, but not to Bombay. How is it going to different? You have to come out of your comfort zone.
Right.
I'm not saying that opportunities are not there in those jurisdictions. There are opportunities and obviously you can make best out of it. But if you have to do something different, you have to do something different, right? Your career, should be kind of more global in nature with respect to doing everything.
Oftentimes, people have a problem in order to reach to the interview table. So when we're talking about where you have a resume in hand and you're going through it and you're getting an understanding of, if the approach is good, you'll hire. But how do you get to the interview table then?
So I have 2 or 3 live cases. I'm like tested cases where I've seen this happening. So I had a friend in Credit Suisse. Again, he was a deputation from Polaris. So he was an IT person, right?
Okay.
And obviously he's done it level 3 and, he was struggling to kind of get into finance. And I asked him, what is the problem? And he said, look, I'm trying to a lot of these places, but at consultant level only, I'm getting rejected. I'm not even going to the HR or the first round or the second round, right? So I said, fine. So how is it that you're telling them that you are good in finance? He said, I'm just telling them I've done my CFA, right? I said, that is not enough. So you have to do something more, right? And he said, I understand technology. I've been in technology for 20 years and stuff like that. So he said, okay, why don't you start a newsletter every 15 days? Fortnight or weekly.
Okay.
Just write about what happened in technology industry.
Okay.
So Microsoft announced earnings, Accenture did this, Infosys did this, etc. Whatever.
Finance aspect of
just talk about what happened in the industry from a financial angle.
Right.
And start posting it. Right. He started posting it every 15 days. And then we met a couple of months later and I asked him, okay, how is it going right now? Then where are you? Saying that he said that I am now at least getting to the final level. I'm meeting the because basis the knowledge which I speak, they already know. Right. And I'll give you a personal example.
You create a very specific profile because you have technology and a finance combination. So that creates a very, very good niche.
So I'll give you a very personalized example. When I started my career, I had joined a firm called Adventity. It's now called Sutherland. And we were working for a hedge fund. And one of the, tasks for us was that we have to read Bloomberg and other news every day. And 8 a.m. in the morning, we have to call up the trader and tell him all the news on the phone. And I was like, boss, what is it that I'm doing?
Right.
Rank holder, chartered accountant, news padh raha hu main.
Right.
I did not understand the value of it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Fast forward 2 years later, 1 year later, I appeared for an interview with Fidelity. Fidelity Management Research in Bangalore. And I was discussing with the MDR there. His name was Bob Brown. And we were talking something. I had recently read a news saying that there were two companies, KCG and KMG. I forgot the names. But they were about to get merged. And one company was highly rated, one company was low rated. And the idea was that low rated company will get upgrade in rating and the high rated company will remain the same.
Right.
That news I had read and I told to my trader at that point in time. And suddenly we were discussing and he asked me what happened in this company and I told him the same story. It so happened that they already had a position in both the companies and they were in the same opinion camp, which I told them basis the news reading. Right. And that was the clicking point at that point in time.
Right.
Okay. The interview turned and I got selected.
Right.
Same story, second time, when I was appearing for an interview with Credit Suisse, and again I was dealing with the head of trader. And that time this British Petroleum oil spill had happened. Okay. So, there were random numbers with respect to what will be the liability on British Petroleum, right? There were numbers ranging from 500 million to like almost 2-3 billion or something, right? It ended up, I think, 20 billion liability or something. But, those are the numbers. And again, I had read some news over there and, basis the balance sheet, I realizing that even if the loss goes to maybe 15-20 billion, British Petroleum is not going to become bankrupt because they have so much of liquidity available in them. Right?
Market always overreacts.
And the trader randomly asked me, the head of trading, Richard, he randomly asked me saying that, what do you think about British Petroleum, this thing? And that news suddenly, clicked. And that was the turning point of that interview. Okay. So whatever you are reading, you don't know where it will come to, your rescue and where it will help you, right? And this was, one work which when I was doing it, I thought it's of no value add to me. And then suddenly, it turned out to be, a game changer, right? It was that only turning point where, that interview shifted. The way he was looking at me, saying that, okay, this is someone who knows this stuff. I may not have known about any other company apart from that news.
I've done this news reading for 3 months as well. This was before CA final. I think it was in the middle of 2 levels of CFA and I was doing a kind of an internship which somehow turned into a job or so. So I was working for 5 days, it turned into 7 days, etc. But I was reading news and in the trading room for 3 months at a stretch. And it was a learning exercise and the amount of patience people have to maintain in a trading room. So that is something that I had learned in that experience. So how would a finance professional develop sales skills?
So good old days, we shifted from a small village in Rajasthan to Surat and obviously even though I had studied in English, my English was not that great. So at those days you used to have these 1-800 toll-free numbers. Okay.
Right.
So we thought that in order to improve our English, we should call up these toll-free numbers. Because one, you will not pay cost. Second, because you are their client, they are not going to negate you. They are going to only encourage you in talking. That's how I did. But anyway, so fast forward, I'm saying, how do you kind of develop your sales skill? Okay. Your sales skills are nothing but, your communication skills or your clarity of message. Okay.
Right.
So you don't have to push anyone to sell. You just have to explain them what it means for them and how it can fit in their portfolio.
And ethics actually goes a long way in sales.
And as long as you do that, people will automatically buy.
Right.
Okay. People are more happy that you are transparent about the risks rather than...
And they'll come back later for another product if not now, if it's not suitable at the moment.
I'll give you a small recent example. I have a, board member and a charter holder. He recently, started a new business. He was in the fund, he left his fund. And now he's into real estate construction.
Okay.
So they're constructing a building in Kandivali.
Okay.
And charter holder being charter holder, So they were basically developing a particular flat and some client had already booked it. And they had promised saying that, they will deliver this facility over there. Okay. And for some reason, technical reason, they knew that this was not going to get delivered. Okay. Some lag happened. So they called up the client saying that, look, we had promised you that, this thing will be there. However, we don't think it will be there. At this point in time, we don't think it is feasible because of this change in plan. If you want to cancel your flat, we are happy to, refund all your money without any cost. But we are telling you upfront, saying that we will not be able to deliver on this promise. Okay. And we are giving you an option if you want to cancel because you had promised, whatever. So the client cancelled that flat. He was to the 1 BHK. but he booked a 2 BHK flat with them, saying that these guys are so genuine.
Okay.
Now, so these guys were telling me, saying that, he was telling me, these are his words, saying that in financial industry, charter holder has so much of competition.
Right.
But I'm in an industry where there is no ethics. And suddenly my ethics are more valued than, anybody else. And he's seeing the difference. He's seeing the difference. And this could as simple as that. He's saying most people don't want to deal with real estate because the payments are delayed.
Yes.
Right? These guys are doing payments on time or upfront or otherwise. And he's saying they are seeing the difference in responses with people, right? So when you are considerate with respect to other people's problem, which is what selling is, things will automatically happen, right?
It's always a long
term. So it's about long-term kind of vision. So, as we say, don't sell performance, sell the product. Because performance can keep on going up and down, but product will always be there, right? As long as you're fundamentally clear. Now, you would have seen a lot of these institutional investors who would say, okay, we have invested for long term. We don't want to see the product in between the performance. But if you're clear saying that your capital is there for long term, but similar, we have to think about your career, that you are investing in a career for long term, right? So when you invest in a value stock, do you know when are you going to get value out of it?
Right.
It could be 10 years flat, nothing, and suddenly one year it went up like 400 times.
We've seen HULs and all not moving for 10 years.
10 years and suddenly it happens.
And then suddenly,
So your career is like a value stock. You have to invest in it and own it and nurture it. And, one fine day it can kind of deliver that value, right? And, in retrospect, my first manager used to say that you can always connect the dots backwards.
Yes.
When you're looking at your career 10 years later, so I did this, that's why I'm here. But right now you don't know what is it for you. Right.
And that's why the importance of jumping on the opportunities and saying yes to a lot of things, no to a lot of things in terms of managing and saving your time, because there are a lot of paradoxical advices at times. But again, saying yes to opportunities and experimenting and using your time, at least not waiting for something to happen and being very picky about things. I want to know, how would somebody improve their communication skills? Since you talked about...
Talk to people.
If
the communication is two, verbal and, written.
Right.
Right?
And written is a big problem.
Who is stopping you from writing, 200, 100 words, 50 words summary of markets every day?
I actually made it a point in my class. I just gave them a random topic one day. They were not prepared. And I told them to write, I think it was one of the risk chapters. And I told them to write one page about India and related risks and just write one page. And I mean, it was such, to be very honest, it was a disaster where most of the people were not even able to put anything tangible and the flow of thoughts and everything on paper.
I'm telling you to do a different experience, a different experiment.
Okay.
Ask them to write something about themselves. I bet they won't be able to write.
Okay.
So forget about any other topic.
Right.
People are not even able to write about themselves because expressing yourself is very difficult. See,
yes.
So the way, and this I told to my daughter recently. She just graduated 10th grade. So I said, write articles. She said, I don't have any ideas. I said, first you start with, you read an article and you just try and summarize that article with your words.
Right.
Could be 100 words, 200 words, 300 words, whatever. Just try and summarize and link it with the original article. Right. You do it for 8 weeks every day. And then you will automatically have an idea. You will automatically have writing style. You will automatically know this thing. Now, these days, obviously, you have a lot of these translation tool and Grammarly and those things which can automatically correct your grammar also.
Yes.
So you don't have to worry about
But then also
grammar.
The problem is that if you're using too much of AI and Grammarly and all these kind of tools, say, for example, when I'm talking to you right now, I cannot use an autocorrect right now while speaking to you. So you have to work on your grammar.
So I'm saying, write something.
Right.
And then see what mistakes you have and then get it. Right?
Yes, definitely.
So the problem
I've used Grammarly to check my grammar and to rectify if I'm going wrong.
We have so much of plagiarism around there.
Yes.
That original content is valued.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
So the more you write original, the more
more so with AI.
The more so
now.
with AI, right?
Right.
So, and it's a habit. Like I told about Morgan Housel, right?
Mm-hmm.
4,000 articles.
Yes.
Okay. Now, if out of 4,000 articles, you create a book out of it.
Yes, absolutely.
It's doable, right? Or after 4,000 articles, you know what is your thought process and where you have some clarity or, some not otherwise. I'm not asking you to write a book, but I mean, it is write something. No. I have a guaranteed proposition. Anybody who can write 100 days non-stop on this thing,
right.
We can call him for an interview. We are looking for content people. We are looking for people who can write on finance, but people are not ready. Right?
True.
Right? Now, you will get opportunity to work in firms where you can kind of, crystallize their thought process. Now, it's not just the job. I mean, financial journalism these days is very high. I mean, be it your, likes of CNBC, money controls.
They want to be
money,
the next one to
next ones.
unmask the Harshad Mehta kind of a scam today.
Yeah, I mean, there could be those. There could be investigative journalists, but I'm saying
Yes.
the pink paper, as we call it, that market itself is huge, right? You don't need chart holders to do, this thing. You can also have chart holders to write.
Yes, absolutely.
Research, right?
In fact, I was talking to one of these equity research heads a while back, and they said that they've got really good people in terms of who can do financial modeling, who can research and put together things. But the exact words were, "इनको report लिखने में बहुत आती है." But they're really bad in terms of putting the report together. And when you're putting a 20-30 pager together, you have to captivate the audience in the very first page, in the very first couple of paragraphs, in terms of selling the idea that yes, this stock is going to work.
Remember in our good old days, we had to write this nibandh essay.
Yes.
Boss, write a random topic and you write something.
Right.
How are you doing it?
And again, my problem happens is with these memes and all, at times when they're propagating something that, what is the point of learning this in school when it's not going to help in real life? But actually what they don't understand is the way we think, the way we are able to apply these things when we are in the real world. So the debate competitions or the elocution, the nibandh writing, the essay writing,
same thing,
and everything, it's the same. And even unseen comprehension, for example. So you read a passage out of absolutely nowhere and then you try to comprehend out of it, which is what we do.
See, the financial statement analysis is nothing but a comprehension.
Exactly.
It's a comprehension only.
Exactly.
So what you're trying to make out of accounting policy and numbers is the comprehension.
Right.
It's just that instead of words, you're doing numbers.
Yes.
Right? So don't underestimate, this lot of things which you do, right? Mm-hmm. I will strongly urge people to have at least one additional language. Okay. Without a language, I think you will not be global. I mean, I would urge people to, learn. I mean, English obviously is there, but learn Cantonese or Mandarin or,
I've never thought about this.
Any of them. I mean, most people take, I see kids who take French and Spanish. That's also great. But have an additional one language. Okay. One language is mandatory for you, right? These days, you will be at 10.
Marwadi doesn't know. Because I know English, Hindi.
See, Hindi Marwadi is good in expressing your feelings.
Okay.
They're not good in expressing your ideas, right? Second is, apart from language, learn some IT skill.
Right.
Okay.
True.
It could be, modeling is by default given.
Excel, PPT, Word is default.
But learn maybe a Python. Maybe a macro.
Right.
Maybe some advanced modeling.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's not that you will do your work using this, but it will make your life much easier when you're looking at large amounts of data.
Even something as simple as Google, and I see people not using the shortcuts in Google. I press a C and there's an email opened up. There's a GI and my inbox opens up. I don't have to touch the mouse in order to operate on Google. And that actually makes the work very, very fast.
So when you are pressed for time, you have to use some of these things, right? So you learn one IT skill sets. Music is something which I think I would always recommend to people. It could be instrument, it could be, singing. Because a lot of people find it soothing when they are, because finance industry is essentially highly stressed industry, right? So, it could be yoga for that matter. It could be some other sport activity.
Okay.
A hobby or a sport, at least sort of, both. Because the amount of friends you will make at a golf club or a cricket, a team would be far, far different and more friendly and, committed than what you make in finance, right?
Right.
Ultimately, it's all about relationships which you make. Almost 70% of the time, 27 times, India market has made all-time high, right? If you had thought 27 years ago or 40 years ago, India market has made all-time high and you should not invest, you will be out of the race.